TIFU By throwing a legal boxing match. Okay, so it was more like yesterday. So I'm the big homie in my neighborhood with a bunch of young adults between the ages of 15 to 23. Myself 37. Now as their big homie, my job is to make sure they stay out of as much trouble as possible, especially within the neighborhood. I'll let them do things like smoke weed, skip school, and recorded music at my house, as long as they're respectful to the elders, help cut grass, bringing groceries, that kinda stuff. Basically keep them out the street while they try to find themselves. We were all teens once, so I get it. But I got these two 18 years old who I've known before they got here, cause most of these kids I went to high school with their parents. But these two hated one another since they were little and was always fighting. This have been going on for about 8 years until yesterday. So let's call kid 1 yellow and kid 2 red. Red has an older half sister by 2 years who moved here a few years ago and didn't know anything about the beef between the two before she got here. And to make a long story less long, Red's sister, unknowing that this her brother enemy, falls for yellow, and now they have a 10-month-old baby that she's been hiding, who's the father from her brother since she found out she was pregnant. So due to a slip of the tongue, Red mama tells the sister to have yellow get the baby some more diapers, cause she running low forgetting Red was home. Now Red pissed and wants to kill yellow for sleeping with his sister, and yes, he was the only one in the hood who didn't know, so he's pissed at everyone else too. His mom and sister tells him the beef is stupid and reminds him how much he loves his niece. Red don't wanna hear it, so they call me. I have Red and yellow come over to dead the beef or shit's going to get real. After calming Red down for about an hour, we decided to let them boxing it out. I give each some gloves and thrown them in the backyard and tell them have at. One of the little homies give word to the hood what's going on. Now I literally got everybody and they mama in my backyard. Mask on, I tell everyone no phones or I'll have them fight it out in my basement. My big homie powers work. They agreed and they're ready to box. Red mom also told them she wants them to hug it out after, since they're family, no matter who wins. First to hit ground loses. Okay, so they get to boxing, thrown hard blows left and right, but both still on their feet. This goes on about 20 minutes and people are taking bits, drinking, smoking, regularly hood shit. Yellow finally goes down. I think he took a dive for Red's sister, to be honest. Red talking shit and giving high fives to the brothers, and you hear his mom say now hug it out. They do, both with tears in their eye. I'm guessing both glad to be done with the beef. That's when I hear her, excuse me, whose house is this? You guessed it, it's the police. Before anybody can run, I say me and go around to the front to talk with the cops and explain what's going on. It's little too late to hide the weed and gambling, cause the cops saw the whole fight laughing my butt off. But they listened and understood my story along with help from Red's mom. So they said they came out for a simple noise valuation, but with all the extracurriculars going on they couldn't just let me off with a warning. So this cool ass cop says, how much you think your ticket should be? I say 200. He say, how about 250 and I'll write it up as a speeding ticket. I say deal. He writes me my ticket and go on his way. Too long, didn't read. I got 250 tickets stopping a 8-year-old beef. Every hood has that one big homie. It's not creepy. Everyone knows him, the parents, etc. It's more like a big bro situation, pulling the young ones up when they need it, giving life lessons through the eyes of someone who's lived it, supervising to make sure nothing gets fatal or illegal. Real old school shit. You a real one big homie. RNS. I worked with a guy who turned his driveway into a basketball court and added extra seating, a bathroom, and a cooler for drinks. The kids had a controlled place to let out some steam and hand out. Just a thought, ever consider formalizing the boxing thing a bit? A good old-fashioned boxing club, a way for lads to channel their energy respectfully and constructively. Perhaps asking the city for a bit of help with a temporary space and some facilities. We all know some kids need a decent father figure and some structure and boundaries, and it would be a great way to amplify that influence in the neighborhood. Either way, it sounds like you're a good role model and respected in the area, and that's worth its weight in gold growing up. Yes, I'm surprised the boys even agreed to box. Seems like tough guys only want to fight through a screen or with a gun. That's awesome though, man. Keep doing you, and taking care of these kids. Peas. You even need to send a few away. I have some yard work employment for these kids in my home area. Pennsylvania. Yellow was down to box right away. I really think he loves Red's sister and his baby. Red took a while, but after few choice words and threatening to take the studio away he came around. Sadly we stay Georgia or I'll have them right out there. Yellow finally goes down. I think he took a dive for Red's sister, to be honest. Kind of makes sense. Red probably wants to feel like his sister's protector and the one who takes care of her. Yellow doesn't want to keep the beef alive by making Red think his sister doesn't need him anymore. But they're both probably very proud and didn't want to admit weakness. So Yellow puts up a good fight, maybe fighting to a stalemate. This lets Red know his sister is in hands capable of protecting her. Then Yellow goes down, so Red knows Yellow respects his sister and her family. They both hug it out because they respect their elders enough to listen to their advice. Or maybe I'm just overanalyzing. May have ducked up in the eyes of the law, but that stuff works. As teenagers we had a close group of friends, so if two people started killing the vibe, it was either both leave or put on the boxing gloves and squash it right there. Like yourself, we ended up having cops come up to us. They only cited our group collectively for one drinking in public, fine 100 ticket, dumped the open alcohol, told us to take our empties and fulls home. What in the shit did I just read? Why is everyone pretending like this was appropriate behavior for a 37-year-old man to let minors smoke weed, skip school, and fight at his house? You're lucky you got off with a 250 ticket. Sounds like you're not doing that neighborhood half as much good as you think you are. During a pandemic nonetheless. LOL. Look, I didn't grow up in that environment. I'm from a suburban walk of life. But the people who do, they have a hard life and it's only getting harder. What OP does is reminiscent of a type of community that humans have been a part of for thousands of years. While I'm glad that you don't need a community like this, some people who were forced to grow up a lot faster need a place to let off steam in a safe and supervised fashion. Big homies may not be doing things the way you like or the most legal way, but they are doing God's work. I respect that opinion, and I understand where you're coming from. But allowing kids to skip school, to hang at your house and do drugs, that big homie is doing nothing to raise those kids up any further, man. Letting kids let off steam in a safe and supervised fashion is much different from letting them skip school to smoke weed. You want to help those kids break the norm of the hood. Show them why they need to be in class, not hanging in some 37-year-old dude's house with drugs and booze. Come on, my dude. Edit, I smoke every day. This is not an anti-green rant. And I get that. I would much rather these kids being in school, learning how to raise themselves up and be successful. And I really hope he is encouraging that and pushing them to better themselves. But I definitely believe this is a better alternative than these kids skipping school and doing other less safe activities. I want to live in a world where you don't need a big homie in your neighborhood to succeed, but I also know that we just aren't there yet. I'm also choosing to believe that he is a truly good person who is allowing them to do these activities safely, i.e., keeping hard drugs out of the house, responsible amounts of booze. It's not perfect, but it's better than some alternatives. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.